Hi, I'm MarkCannon, and this is my PPD2 final presentation. So, in terms of job roles within the games industry, my sort of area of interest has changed somewhat along my university career. Um, Back in the first semester of third year, when I was doing game development, the game development module, there were times when working as an environment artist on the shade, I got a little sick of spending time doing the same environment day after day after day. Um, that had a bit of an effect on me, and at that time I felt that perhaps heading in the direction of a prop artist might be something I might be a bit more interested in doing. Um, since then, however, working this year on my advanced 3D um, and some outside projects as well, sort of rekindled my love really of doing environment art. When it came to tailoring my portfolio and my showreel now, I've essentially included two environments, and I'm aiming my final sort of showreel to be more of an environment-based showreel as opposed to anything prop related or sort of anything side of doing that. So what am I most proud of in my portfolio? From the two environments, I would say that the advanced 3D, the Metro 2033 environment would be my most proud piece of art. Simply because a lot of work went into that scene in terms of things that I'd never done before. Um, so there was lots of dynamic elements like cloth physics, subsurface scattering, particle systems, a lot of systems that I'd never really touched before in UDK. Um, so it was a good learning curve in terms of learning how to um, utilize these tools and learn the processes of how to generate particles and how to generate skeletal meshes, um, learning how to import animations into UDK. A lot of useful knowledge went into to generating that scene, and from never having done any of that before, I'm quite proud of the outcome. I'm quite proud of the quality of the achievement, the outcome that I was managed to generate through the development of the environment itself. So yeah, that would probably be my proudest piece in my portfolio. Well, when it came to producing the Metro 2033 environment, um, like I've said, a lot of the elements within that scene I'd never sort of touched on before. So a large part of the beginning of the project was spent learning about the different systems within UDK to try to achieve what I wanted from the scene. So I spent a long time looking at the um, particle systems within UDK and how they work. I followed a few tutorials, created a few different sort of test particle systems as well, just so I could wrap my head around how the tools worked. Um, when it came to subsurface scattering materials, I looked at both subsurface scattering and transmission materials. So again, lots of research went into sort of different shader setups within UDK and the type of outcome you would get for changing different settings. Um, Again, a lot of that was broken down further into learning more about the material editor within UDK, um, learning about nodes and what different nodes do to a shader, which was a lot of useful information. Um, Processes for animation, so generating skeletal meshes. Um, that was something I always had in the back of my mind that I needed to learn. So I was glad when I sort of took on this environment that it contained something that I would need to go ahead and learn this process, get a chance to learn how to export animations from Maya and import them into UDK. Um, So a lot of the sort of process at the beginning, like I said, was spent learning how to do different sort of elements and experimenting. Um, and from the outset, the sort of outcome of it all, I'm very pleased with the outcome that I managed to get from the different dynamic elements within my scene. So yeah, I'm quite proud of that. I suppose when it comes to what I'm least proud of within my portfolio, it's a kind of a hard question to answer because each of the elements of my portfolio, each of the environments that I've worked on, personally I'm incredibly proud with. That's simply because I know of the workload that has gone into them. Each environment that I've sort of gone through so far has been a big learning experience when it comes to learning different processes. Um, for the courtyard environment, there was a lot of sort of getting used to working in a team, using sort of different new software and new technology to achieve the environment, and that was the same when it came to doing the metro environment as well. There was a lot of new elements in the scene, a lot of dynamic elements that I'd never really touched before in UGK. Um, so each environment to me is what I'm proud of because um, of how much work they required each. But if I had to push one to being which one I'm least proud of, um, I'd probably say that the courtyard was I'm slightly less proud of that simply because there was a lot of time constraints involved with that project. Um, and when it came to doing the metro environment, I got to experiment a lot more with new technologies, new dynamic elements within the scene. Um, so I'd probably put that slightly above the courtyard scene itself. In terms of anything I would have differently, um, well, at the minute I'm showcasing two environment pieces within my showreel. Um, that was at the advice of quite a few different people who suggested that um, it's good if you're interested in environment art to showcase a sort of broad range of different environments that you'd worked on, um, and save sort of more um, 2D or 2D assets, prop assets for my online portfolio. Um, so following that advice, I sort of kept my showreel down to being just the environments that I'd worked on. Um, however, again, that may change because again, through some research looking at different sort of showreels around the internet, I've noticed that quite a lot of environment artists also showcase sort of assets from scenes as well, not just um, the environments themselves. So I may sort of go about changing that, or I may could have done that differently as well. So what's the main thing I've learned from the process of portfolio creation? Um, well, essentially, there's been quite a few sort of things that I've picked up from the process of generating a show reel and generating a portfolio. Um, I think the big one that stands out, the big piece of advice, is showcase your best artwork first, because I know that gets drilled into everyone. You want to make a good impression, good impression. So it's good to show you your sort of your best artwork first. I think that's the biggest, the main point that I've learned from the whole portfolio creation process. Um, there are a good few honourable mentions though. I should mention that uh, back at the beginning of PPD1, we were prompted the question, do you show or should you show artwork? Breakdowns of different artwork that you've done. And back then I answered no, because I believed that um, when it comes to showcasing sort of yourself and your artwork, you want to just show how pretty things could be. Um, But again, it's sort of through the process and through the processes of PPD1 and PPD2, I've learned that it's important, and it's good to show breakdowns of the assets that you've done, simply because it shows that you have a better understanding of the artwork production. So it's a good thing to show wireframes in clean geometry, um, show your maps, show UV layouts, show that sort of that you're capable of doing those as well, which is something, like I said, I didn't consider at the beginning of PPD1, being in the mindset that a showcase was simply just to show off your work, as opposed to demonstrate your ability. But I've learned that through the process, and that's probably one of the best sort of pieces of advice that I've managed to pick up through doing the PPT modules.